Well, today I think will be very interesting because we're going to explore HTMX and Golang templating engine. Both tools I have barely used it before, and my current status is that I'm able to, like use Fiber to host a very simple website, like a server-side render website, plus its templating engine to host my style and the HTML file, like return to the front end for display. So basically, I have an index.html that represent what I'm going to like experiment today, and it looks like this at the moment. I'm just going to try out HTMX and at the same time trying to see how can the templating engine fits into the ecosystem of Golang HTMX, which has gained a lot of popularity recently. Well, to summarize what this HTMX does, like in my opinion, is that it is a tool, definitely a tool, like very simple tool, that enables the HTML to behave more than just a HTML. I would say that it is just a front-end library, correct me if I'm wrong, like that enables HTML to send requests other than a simple post request when they are submitting a form. After installing HTMX, it allows us to send any kinds of HTTP request, like we can send a GET request, POST or PUT, depending on the situations of how we want to modify our components. And after that, we get the HTML elements, like the updated elements from the backend side, and then we can swap it with the existing HTML elements that we have in the front end. So basically, it's just switching the old, like the good old current method of like using a JSON as a data, like the communication medium between the front end and the back end. From that, we become straight away using the HTML elements. The good thing about HTMX is that it can then allow us to achieve the effect similar to a what we call it, single page applications kind of effect. Like usually when we do React, we have stats that allow user to see the updates in the application without having to reload the website. Similarly, HTMX, you also don't need users to like specifically press refresh button or click any button to refresh your site. In a way, it can enable you to achieve SPA effect while keeping the positives of like using a server-side render approach for search engine optimization. So yeah, guess I'm going to start like understanding how the HTMX works, and at the same time trying to like do a very simple like CRUD applications, like a to-do app for example, to understand that how can we set up the frameworks to behave as we want to in React, like equivalent to React effect. Well, and the goal of the day is definitely not to make any beautiful like website. Just make it like a very very simple one and clear enough for us to understand what's happening at the back. Well, let's get started by, because I'm using like the Golang as the main the backend framework, like GoFiber. So I'm just going to look into how they provide the example applications for like the Go templates or like HTML templates, so that we can get something out of it, right? So this is a Go HTMX Tailwind example. Let me just check if I'm recording. Yeah. Okay. So coming back, I think the first thing that we want to do is we want to have several HTML components, and index.html is where we initialize everything. So the meta text, I guess I will just copy the entire meta text, and the CDN for our HTMX also I can include it. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing and put it down here. Probably I want to put the script below the title. Not sure if it affects anything. And then I go back to the HTMX and see the CDN, like the quick start is 1.9.6. so this is the latest version of HTMX. So definitely we are going to switch this to 1.9.6, and there we go. The second thing I want to do is I want to have a components that interacts with. So index.html is essentially just a base layout template where I can have another component called list.html that shows the list of elements by getting the data from our Golang server. And here we can then define whichever thing that we want to. Like for example, this is called, I'm just going to put it at anything, and then say I'm just going to put it P, and this is the list. Or I can use a ULLI instead, unordered list, and with a list there. Right, so this list.html is where we want to put in the contents, and we can have a main section that wraps our hash1, and also I don't think I need this. I can straight away use the CSS on top of the existing HTML text, since CSS is not the main goal for the day. But basically, I remember to use a template I can write like this. I'm just going to try my luck to see if this is working fine. And then before I check out, I'm just going to write the main to be display flex direction column, a gap of a 24 pixel, align item center, and that's all, I guess. So we have also the UL and LI that probably I'm going to write the LI first. Okay, now we have completed setting up. Oh, there's no such template called index.html, so I'm going to try and see how it works. Like companies.html, yes, it's using the template like this. Straight away put down the name. What is the difference? The difference is also I'm also using a template text, and then just with an additional space right after the full stop. But it seems like it doesn't really work. Maybe I'm just going to try again. Hey. Ubuntu and a process import. Okay. Right, now it's still the same. No such template list.html. Even if I remove this entire line, am I still encountering the same thing? No. It works like this. But if I add in the template, then it stops working. So maybe I need to see the main.go to see if it whitelists anything of the template or not. It's using a web library that I'm not sure where is it. Yeah, it's a go-to go toolbox tool, but either way I try and see if I can get information. There's nothing related. After adding the list.html, it just stopped working suddenly. How about this? How can I? Let me just check out the companies.html. It's essentially just a div. I don't really see a point why it doesn't render in index.html. Probably its syntax is wrong. I can't tell at all. No such template. Oh, is templates slash index. No lah, it's not the case. Oh, this. Do I really need to explicitly serve this? Although I don't really know what I'm doing, but how if I serve it? It doesn't make sense. Well, if I go this way, it's serving it as a pure file, which I don't really want to. No such file as a template. This is very strange. GoFiber HTML. Yes, partial slash header. There's no need to put in the .html, is it? Like, I can just put here list shared. So good. Okay. So now we have the thing in place. Okay. Everything looks good. Site is a bit ugly. But that's not the point of the day, right? I'm just going to remove the line item center so that it can be left aligned a bit. Isn't it? This is align center. Which one? And here. And I don't think I got put in the align item center. Oh, there you go. but the UI UL is having a very strange. Anyway, okay, so my goal is kind of achieved. I don't really want the gap anymore. Look at how big the gap is. Okay. So first thing is I want to see how to get a list of data from the server side and render it to the front end. So basically, when I go to the file here, similar to the company's table, I do want the list to be rendered like this. This is called a range, meaning that I have a range of the template called row, and then I have a row.html that I can refer to this, where how it works is it is a object. You're just getting an object done, where I think I can then set that it is li, and then with dot name as a data. Then the convention for Golang is a Pascal case for the public data, so I'm just going to put this, and yeah, makes sense. So a range of the data, put in the name there, dot name. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the companies and see how they are processing of data. So there's this HTMX indicator. Considering how it looks, it does seem very similar to a loading progress bar. So okay, HTMX indicator, the color of white. So we also have it's a bunch of styles that I don't really need yet, but I do want to know how it gets the data. See, it's a HTMX indicator, but there's no other places of getting the data from. I'm just wondering how it gets. No data here. When we have no data in the companies, probably it's on render, like immediately it gets the data and then return to the users, where it should be rendered together with index.html. Don't know what is the wrap thing. Oh, this all these are custom code. Okay. So just want to go for go to box. Well, anyway, don't bother about that. Where does the HTMX comes into play of getting like company's data? Handle / company web.actions companies. Wonder what does this mean? This is quite hard to understand, isn't it? Just because I don't see any I only know that the add means I'm adding a data into the thing. But I wonder why is it like a GET request instead of a POST request? What is the conventions, like the practical, like the protocol that they are using? Company. Okay. Get company. Yeah, there's no reason. Hmm. Mm. Well, if I return a list like immediately after rendering HTML, I return a list of range dot. Mm. Range is with dot something as accessing the certain data. So if I say that this is called dot list, can I expect that no? Here dot list list.html. Can I say that the list is a combination of name oh shit. Type user strong name string, and then here would be user with a name of a string, user with a name as a string. What does it mean by expecting closing array of struct? see. So it's going to be a list of user that comprises of two like this. Okay, does this make sense? Invalid field name. So how about this? Right, something like this. Then I don't need this anymore. Interesting. Okay, I have the name already. So I'm finished passing in. Then the template is passed to the list, and the list will be processing the list and populating the row by passing in all the data that it tags to the row to display a name, which I think it will work. Yes, it works. So this theory is correct, where I can control whatever data that is initially fit into users what the front can see, right? So this part settled. The next thing I want to do is to use the HTMX to do the swap in and out, which is similar to the button that they put in here. So let's just copy this thing out and go into here and try to understand what does it mean by a get request. Search company / add. So going here, company / add. It's a get request that will get the target body with row add and row.html. Company add. What does it mean? Why? What's the data being passed here? Does it imply to any data? Could it be the data? Let me see. So companies add does have this indicator indicating that I am going to or the indicator means that it's going to add in the style to this processing, where it will sort the processing in when it's waiting for adding a data. And then target is a table body. We'll swap out the HTML. Don't really understand what this means. But never mind. Just table body. I want to see what the table body means. company set doesn't have anything special. It just swap in the row at and row.html only. But it does fit in the data though, meaning that it will when I press add, it will return me with a data that I just added in. But it's a placeholder data only. Until I press the save button, then it will save it, or I cancel it, then it will become the previous one. Which is still quite confusing to me though. So if I have a row 8 and then range to go through the row.html, I have a row8.html that is in charge of the input text, the input field. It's getting a bit complicated. I wonder how can I write all this thing without doing a mistake. I assume that I can add in this thing called a name, and I don't need the rest of the things. Data include add. I don't know what does it mean, but it does have the attribute is. It may be, oh okay, maybe just a custom attribute where it selects the input by this custom attribute that we add, which means that I can assume it can be anything. But the design practice wise is actually getting a bit more hard to understand, meaning that whenever there's a data change, I'll just go to the post and then change. This is changing the companies. Yeah, this is changing the companies thing by here I mean that this is list. So my list is actually inside. I can assume that inside here. ID then equals to users. Okay, ID equals to users, and then from here the row 8 is going to target the users, and the indicator is still processing the same thing. Include the element with the data include add attribute. Forget all the classes, and then don't bother about the rest, just a saving. And a get request is getting a users with a target of users. So get request and the post request is different. Save and cancel. Row 8. Okay. guess I don't want the background to be black color. It's very unintuitive to keep it going. Okay, I guess I would get a error because I didn't finish all the APIs. So I don't really sure about that. Okay, coming back. So I get a swapping in out, company ad, done. This one is done. Row ad there already. Row edit. ID is extremely important. Like row ad, the entire ID we have the. My God, it's so confusing. Data row ad. So companies equivalent to the list.html that I'm listing out the users only, and we have an ID of table body that demonstrates. We have a users and then an add button that can swap the table body. So body. A button can swap the table body after I getting the company add data slash company slash add data. And then from the main.go perspective, I'm going to prepare what is needed by slash dot main slash company slash add data coming from routes.go that enables this thing. Otherwise, data.go. Oh, there's this data thing. So data is just an empty company list. Can I assume that? Actually no, it does have some sort of data already. So I pass in the entire data to the company add so that it can return the company add with the data, and then from here the data will then have a template of row add and row HTML. Okay, so meaning that it just consolidate the add and HTML text. So I can just have this company add slash users slash add that will replace whatever things inside table body, indicate that it's processing or add. Okay, can. So slash user slash add get request that will render a user add name add with fiber.map. That is the names of that I call this a list of users. I can just say that I have a list of users right here, and I have another list of user this place, and then name it will populate the template. Go down. Oh shit. To be a range of passing everything to the row add. So the row add will then populate all the data, right? But why? Oh, okay. So it passed the data in, but the data does it use anywhere though? Doesn't seem like use it. Anyway, I have a range that is with a template of row.html. I would say this seems like looping the list so that I can get all the rows in place. I don't really know if this is true. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so apparently I do successfully generated the data, right? If I actually, I'm not even sure if I do it correctly or not. Because I feel like it's supposed to not to have at least four data one. But why does it only have two? Index.html generate a list, and then this list generate a list of. I have a processing button, have an add button that swaps the table body with outer HTML with a processing. So if I assume that I'm right, this table body should be flooded with a li of list. Looking at I'm already getting data from here, but I get a 500 immediately. I was trying to add the data. Oh, actually, does it make sense? When I press it, it will do something to the table body, to swap the outer HTML with a list of other data. That I'm assuming that this will trigger a get request to slash no such template row.html. Oh, makes sense. So row. Oh, damn. Oh. Okay. So what it does is it get the data and then swap it out. So it doesn't, when I press the add button, it doesn't do anything special rather than it return me a row add, which is a add button, and then return me with save. But row add button is where all these things exist right here, where I already have a row add one. So this is the row add. And I'm supposed to have a list that's ready to render one, isn't it? template is a row that's considered a name. The concept itself is still very hard to get up. Like data raw add is, I can say, is the input and the save and the cancel button, and then slash user slash something does something to the user's ID object, where if I cancel it, then does it mean that I will reset everything? So I assume that it will return a index.html again, isn't it? When I go to, say, from here, go to the routes.go, and then slash user or slash company. Yeah, so get. This is where it returns back the list.html to cover the cancelled one, which is here. Okay, so if I understand correctly, this is still needed, where it's a initial state where the users see the add button and also the list of the users. So when I go to the main.go and then I add in the another API call slash user, and then I expect to get c.render. I expect to get a list, isn't it? Yes, a list with fiber.map as the data, with a list of users in. Okay, this is my expectation. Hopefully it works. But why doesn't it? Why doesn't it work? Yeah. Wow, I'm so blurred. Okay. So meaning that when I press cancel, I assume that it will return back to the previous state. What's... Whoa. Yep, okay. So it does work. Next, when I press a save button, what will happen? Right, so I have now in the post request, I just post a slash user slash something on that the target is the users. Okay, so it will return the same goal. I guess I need to start working now, but yeah, I'll continue the remaining learning afterwards. I think it start to make sense to me. Yeah, I'll just try with different methods like available in HTMX after this.